Welcome back to another edition of Gum on Shoe podcast, our segment, which is called The Compassion Classifieds. And as you know from viewing our other Compassion Classifieds, we have people on that are looking either to venture out their entrepreneurial ideas, showcase their skills. Today we have Justin Fosdick, a recent graduate. Now, Justin just graduated from Syracuse. Justin, welcome to the program and congratulations on your accomplishments at Syracuse.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right. So, Justin's a graduate of Syracuse, as I mentioned, in design studies with double minors in fashion and art photography. So, he's really looking to expand his skill set out into the marketplace around those specific disciplines of study. He's got a tremendous website where you can see his work, where he's actually developed some fashion, some lines of clothes. He's also done some really amazing photography. And we're going to sit here and we're going to chat with Justin about this. And if anybody's out there that has an interest in his skill set, obviously reach out and we'll make the introduction. So, again, Justin, thank you for taking the time today to record this and showcase your skills. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
So everybody thinks of Syracuse University, and I'm a sports fan, so I always think of Syracuse from the lines of athletics. But what sparked your interest going to Syracuse? Are they known for fashion and art photography and those types of studies?
So actually, what initially interested me in Syracuse was their new house film program. They have a great television, radio, and film program that really has a lot of alumni and a big connection group, and lots of good professors. And I initially actually applied for the film program first, and I found that I was more passionate about the design program and design classes that I ended up being able to take. So sorry, that was my cat. um, I find that I am still very passionate about video and photography, and that was something that I was really interested in from a young age. In middle school, I got my first camera, and that's been something that's a constant throughout my life. And I found that the design aspect really came in later once I realized all of the things that kind of go into productions like these. Figuring out that, oh, I can make the things that are in these movies, I can make the things that are in commercials, became a lot more interesting to me.
So coming out of school, Justin, I know there's probably a maze in front of you, right? Knowing where to go, what direction. But if you had your perfect scenario, I mean, who would you want to reach out to? Who would you want to have see this video as far as, retail companies, fashion companies, or photography companies?
Um, I mean, broadly, creative directors, art directors, technical designers for large brands like New Balance, or even higher fashion brands like Margiela or Prada. I'm of course extremely interested in being interested in fashion overall. So it'd be wonderful to be contacted by people from there. But really, it's local brands like in Boston, like New Balance, Reebok, Hey Dude, which runs Crocs, I have looked into, and I think would all be great fits for me.
All right, cool. So let me ask you a couple of questions here, Justin, so we can actually showcase your skill. But what is most important to you about design? What is most important about design, essentially, to you specifically?
I think that what's really most important about any design is that, from my background and my degree, has really taught me that research is one of the most important things, and orienting your research so that you're solving a problem from a human perspective. You don't want to be solving a problem that doesn't exist, and you don't want to be creating something that's not easy to use or intuitive to use for people. So putting people first, and having human-centered design is the best way to create excellent functional designs, and of course, backing all of that information up with well researched and informed decisions.
Great, fantastic. Now, before we get into the further questions, you have a website that you shared with me. What is that website that people can kind of see your work, not only from fashion but also photography? I thought a lot of those were really amazing.
Thank you. That's justinfosdick.com. Justin, Fosdick.com. That's it.
All right, so you guys can check out his work there. So, Justin, whenever you're talking to somebody, and obviously, retail is not my industry, but anytime I hear stories of people that are developing photography or fashion or design, there's something that inspires them. Coming from the heart here, what inspires you when you start to take on a project?
I really love movies and paintings. I think that, specifically kind of impressionists like Francis Bacon or Moriarty really kind of inspired the current fashion collection I did for my thesis project. But also fashion designers like Raf Simons, Pharrell Williams, Kanye West. Originally has really interesting design languages trying to tackle kind of what is fashion, changing things and coming from unique perspectives. Not only are a lot of them not specifically from fashion backgrounds, but they have different design backgrounds or musical background that they can then translate into fashion and clothing, which I think is really very impressive and very interesting.
Now, have you reached out to some of the local? Now, I know you went to school in Syracuse, but you're here in Massachusetts. Have you reached out to any of the local headquarters, such as Reebok, New Balance? You also have New Noble, which is in Massachusetts as well.
Yeah, I've submitted a couple applications, and I plan on messaging some people on LinkedIn,
All
but I
right,
have not
cool.
made any direct contact yet.
All right. Well, there's a something that you should definitely do. Look on LinkedIn, see who runs it, and reach out to them. So, we talked about what's important to you. Um, the other thing from a creative standpoint, right? Not only inspiration, but I always see that people that are very artistic or creative kind of tell stories. How do you tell stories? Let's start with the fashion part of it, and then we'll get into photography. How do you tell stories through your clothes?
Great. So research, research, research. Incorporating research and the background that I have in my degree into a fashion collection has totally changed everything that in the way that I work. It increases their functionality. It really allows me to narrow down a theme and references when I want to make specific motifs. I took some ideas from Japanese culture, where it's the warrior journey, being a samurai, taking shapes from that to then translate into a broader story about isolation. And if you're interested in that, you can watch the fashion show and read much more about that on my website. Um, but evolving with research backed choices and scientific kind of discoveries, talking, how do we recognize each other, also was something important that I wanted to put into my fashion collection. And really, world building creates a really good story. And so I'm trying to create a world that consumers can exist within and relate to.
Now, let's take the other portion of that with somewhat of the same questions because I saw your photos and there's animals in it a lot. Kind of looks like you take a lot of photos at dusk. How are you then, if it differs, how are you telling stories through your photography?
I think that visually, you're right, it is a little different than designing clothing and fashion because those things exist in front of you and physically and can move around, whereas seeing just a picture is a bit of a different experience. So creating really strong visual interest in capturing things that I'm passionate about. If I think that something is particularly beautiful, it's a lot easier for me to create a beautiful image about that.
Great. Now, You're graduated from Syracuse this year, 2024 graduate, and we just started off this conversation about where you're going to infiltrate coming out of school. But if you could kind of paint your perfect scenario of, 5 to 6 years down the road, even 7 to 8 years down the road, where would you envision yourself, and what are your goals on that?
I think that overall, my goals would be to have a real runway show. I'm not sure that I would make it to New York Fashion Week or Paris Fashion Week, but be able to organize something significant like that with a full collection, and kind of kickstart my own brand would be really ideal. Um, on the other side, I would really also like to be in a above an entry level position at one of those companies by the time 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years rolls around.
Okay. Now, also on your website, you showed there were clips of a show that you did at Syracuse. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I
Yes.
believe you won an award, right?
Yes. So out of the 26 students that were in that senior class, I was chosen out of 10 to go showcase at a special exhibition in New York City, which was really nice to be able to do.
So you somewhat got your taste of showcasing in New York City, huh?
Absolutely, it was great, and it was really impactful and important to me. Not only because I'm not a fashion design major, but that class that I built that entire collection for was a senior only fashion design major only kind of class, and I had to get special permission from the director of the program, as well as the director of my own program, to be able to get into this class. So I put a lot of effort and hard work into being able to even attempt this. It paid off, I think. I was proud of how it turned out.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Well,
Thank
this is Justin, and Justin, I don't think you have a LinkedIn profile set up yet, do you?
Oh, I do. Yep.
Okay, all right. Well,
Not
Justin has
perfect. But
a LinkedIn profile. I will also put in the caption the attachment to his website, unless Justin has any, uh, wants to proceed with caution. I would understand, but we'll get that up there so you guys can see. And anybody out there in the retail world, one of the reasons that we do this Compassion Classified is that I really think that the paper resume and the online applications is dead. This allows you to see somebody, lets them showcase their talents, and probably talk about things that would not come up in the interview process. So, Justin, I really appreciate you coming out here. Anything, my last question for you, was there anything that we didn't discuss that you were hoping we could talk about, or something that you would like people to know?
I think that overall, I'd just like to close off by saying um, I'm a hard worker and I learn quickly, and that you know something that school that I think has taught me that's really important is taking on large projects and taking risks, especially when I don't have a full comprehensive skill set for the thing I'm trying to tackle. Um, Really usually pays off, and I learn something new and have a nice deliverable that I'm proud of to showcase. So I think that that's something important that everybody should know.
All right. All right, Justin. Well, again, thank you. Hopefully, somebody's out there that can hear this and reach out to us and possibly get you on your journey. So, for Gum on Shoe podcast, our Compassion Classifieds, my name is Scott Graham. This is Justin, and we are going to sign off. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.